So we're factoring today by grouping when we can't pull anything out at all. And it says arrange in groups with common factors. So factors of A are in common, also 5 and 2. So, oh, you didn't get one? I'm so sorry. So here you go. So what can you pull out of the first pair? You can pull out the 5 and the A squared. So let's go ahead and do that. So you're going to pull out a 5 and an A squared. And then what would you have left? 5 times what will give you 55? 11. And we pulled out one A, so how many A's are left? A squared. Plus, we pulled out the 5 and 1A, so what's left?
Why don't we take out?
I don't know. You guys, you should get candy. So this is 2A to the second, and that's what Erica said. And so I've only got a single A left. And then, if I pull out 5A squared, who knows what's going to be left? 1. And somebody on the test put nothing. Because there was, you got to go 5A squared times what will give you 5A squared, and it's times a 1. Then on this one, plus, what can I pull out of this one? A 2. So if I pull out a 2, and I should have made that bigger, what's left on this one? 2 times what? 11 what? 11A plus what? Plus 1. Again, I should have made that a little bit bigger. Then you should see that I've got A plus 1, 11A plus 1, and another 11A plus 1. So I can pull that out. Also, here's one term, here's another. So I can pull that out, 11A plus 1. And if I pull that out, what's left? 5A squared plus 2. And you don't have to do it, but if you want to check on a test, and by the way, the people that did, if you had this on the test and you did the boxes, the people that did the boxes got them all right. If you didn't do a box, some of them were not right. So if I wanted to check it, I could do my 11A plus 1 and my 5A squared plus 2, and I would get my 55A to the third. Here I would get my 5A squared. Here I would get my 22A, and here I would get my 2. And I would pull it out as 55A to the third. It's right there. 5A squared. It's got no other square on this one. Plus 22A plus my 2. So we get the exact same thing back. So we'll do it again on this one. So I'm going to look at these two. I see an A in common. Over here, I see a number in common. So we can leave it just in that order. And I'm going to put the parentheses here and here. So what can I pull out of the first parentheses? Just an A. So this one I'm going to make a little bit bigger. Okay. And then if I pull out 1A, what's going to be left? 7A squared. Plus A times what will give me 5A? Is 5. And then on this one, what can I pull out of both of these? Is it a 4?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can pull out a 4. And we're going to have left 7A squared plus 5. 4 times that is the 28. 4 times 5 is that. And then do you see two parentheses that are the same?
Yeah.
So this is one term separated by the plus. So we can pull that out. And so here's our final answer, 7A squared plus 5 times what's left? The A plus 4. And that's it. And then we'll do a couple of these below with the negatives. Right. All right. So, uh-oh. Oh no. And I might need some paper. Do I have to? Let me see if I have any paper for anybody. I don't know if I do. I need to get some paper. Well, we'll figure it out. Okay. So on this one, if I look at these last two, is there anything in common? No. So I think I'm going to switch the order a little bit. And I think I'm going to put the 78 first, then the W to the third. Then I'll put it in descending exponent order. And you'll see why in a second. So I'm going to put the 78 W to the fourth, then the minus 6 W to the third, and then minus the 65 W plus the 5. And then I can see on my first term, there's something to pull out. And on the last two terms, there's something to pull out. And I think I don't want to use red, but this pen is not working. All right, so we just have to see if 6 goes into 78, and I think it does. Divided by 6 is 1. Yes, it goes 13 times. So we're going to pull out, is that a plus now? Oh, that's a minus. Okay, so that's a minus. So on this first one, we can pull out, what did we say, a 6? We're going to put out a 6, and what else? A W to the third power. And so on this first one, we've got 6 times 13 is 78, and we're pulling out 3 W's. How many will we have left? 1 W. And then who knows what this last term is going to be? A negative 1. So 6W to the third times 6W to the third is a 1, and that's a negative. Okay. Now on this, when there's a minus in the middle, I'm going to put the parentheses around the whole thing. And I actually have to factor out, if there's a negative here, factor out the complete negative. So I'm going to take out a negative. And then what's in common with the numbers? A 5. So I'm going to take out a negative 5. If I take it a negative 5 and no letter, 5 goes into that 13 times, and we didn't pull out the W. But if I pull out a negative, guess what this becomes? It becomes a negative, such that negative times negative would give me that positive back. And 5 times 1 will give me that 5 back. So now look at it, and what could we still pull out? Yeah, because again, here's our two terms now separated by the minus. So in each of those, there is a 13W minus 1 times, what is this going to be? 6W to the cubed minus 5. Very good. And we'll see if we could do one more like that. Okay, we'll do this last one right here, this number 9. So again, this one I think is in descending order, and I see in these two there's something in common. In these two there's something in common. So I'm going to go ahead and put my parentheses here. With this one, because it's a negative in the middle, I'll put a whole entire parentheses around that, because that tells me I want to pull out that negative. So who thinks they know what we could pull out of the first parentheses? Yeah, good job. So 7x squared. And what's left is it just a 3? Wow. Plus, what's left on the second term? Very good. 7x squared times 2y is 14x squared y. Okay. then because this starts off with a negative, you're going to pull that negative out. So who knows besides the negative, what else we can pull out? We can pull out, Luke, are you getting it? So on this one, we're pulling out a negative, and we're pulling out an x. And then what's left on this first one? Just 2y. Because negative times this would be the negative 2xy. Okay. But then when I pull out a negative, what happens right here? This becomes a positive. And what's going to be left here is going to be a 3. Now, who knows what's going to come out first? What's exactly the same except they're turned around? The 2y plus 3. These are just twisted around. Could I have noticed that before? No, I wouldn't have noticed it. So it doesn't matter. So we're just going to change the order. You can't just change the order if it was a minus, but we can change it if it's a plus. So we're going to pull out 2y plus 3. And then who knows what's left? Yeah, 7x squared minus the x. And that's it. And let me see what's on the back. Does this kind of make sense? Okay, good. I don't feel like doing those. Another day. And I can't make it a whole number because I don't have an equal sign, so yeah, we don't want to play with that right now. I don't want to play with that. I'm just seeing on this one, this is x squared. I just want to try this one because this is not in the, I mean, normally I would have, this is R, S, T, U. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to put it right here and right here. Because there's a plus in the middle, I don't need to put a negative here. But because there's a negative in the front, I think I need to pull out a negative. I'm not sure. I think what I'm going to do is just switch them around. Can I do that? I don't know how it's going to affect it. Or I could pull out a U, and I could pull out, I don't want to pull out a negative because we don't want a negative in the front. So I would probably switch the order. How could I switch the order? Let's see if that works. Let's just switch it and put the 12 SU minus 28R squared U. So if we did that, what would we pull out of that? Is it a 4 and a U? That's all I can think of. Will that work? So let's try it. So pull out a 4 and a U. So if we did that, what would be left? 3S. Minus 4 times 7, and R squared would be left. I have a feeling this is gonna, I don't know how this is gonna come out. And then this one, I think I'm gonna get stuck here. So this is going to be, what's gonna come out of here? I have a feeling because I see this -7, and if I pull out a 2, I'm going to end up having a +7. So in that case, what do you probably think you should pull out? I need to have a -7, and then I can switch them out. Yeah, I'm going to leave it like this, but just, and so you'll see what I'm doing. I see that there's a -7. I know if I pull out a 2, I'm going to have a +7 left. So that's why I'm saying pull out a negative So if I pull out a -2, let's see what happens. And what else can I pull out? Can I pull out a t?
Yeah.
I can pull out a t. Because I don't think you should do that much trial and error on the switching. Just have a positive in the front. So then on this one, a negative times a what would give me a positive 14? A -7, and what's left? R squared. And then a negative times a what would give me a negative? A positive 3 and the s, because we're pulling out a 2 and a t. Okay. So now, isn't the first one like this second one over here? Yeah, and the signs are correct. We've got a +3, +3, -7, -7. So we'll just switch the second one. So we'll pull it out as a 3s minus 7r squared. So we're pulling out this, and this just switched is exactly the same thing. So this one's a little tricky. And then what do we have left?
4u minus 2t.
4u minus 2t, which is to say that if you pulled this out originally and it ended up being a +7 and a -3, you would have had to realize that, oh, I've got to pull out a negative to change the signs. So by tomorrow, I'll find another one of those. But that is the answer. Let's look at our time. We get out here at 4. Oh, okay, these, let's maybe look at one more. Pick out one anywhere. 17 looks easy. 17 looks simple. I'm going to pick up the one right below it, though, because it's got a negative here. So let's see if we can do that one. So I'm going to, is there anything in common? Not much, but I do see a number that can come out. They just want, it didn't say everything had to be in common, and I see a number here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. I'm going to do this to pull out the negative. So what can we pull out on this first one? Just a 2. So 2, and we've got left 5CE minus 9DF. I don't think this one's going to work. And then on the next one, oh, it's just, okay, the CF is in the beginning. Oh, this is a good one. Wait, see, we don't even have a CF. This might, well, I wonder if it's prime. If I pulled out a, yeah, I think it's going to be prime. If I pulled out a -3, I'd have a 4CF plus 3DE. I have a feeling this one is prime, and I'm going to look in your book. Let me see where the big algebra book is. Well, I'm going to put an asterisk on this, but I don't think, could I have switched this around DE? There's nothing in common, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to say that this one is prime. I'm going to call it prime, and then I'll find the book and verify it. Okay, so with the AC, BD, no letter can come out. BC, AD. Okay, on this one, and maybe I'll have to go back and see on this one. All right, I'm going to try on this one because, again, this has been a long time. I see AC, BD. I see AD, here's a D. And this has a C. So I'm going to switch it around so I can pull a letter out. So I'm going to put this one and this one together. So I'm going to put 3AC plus 6BC. And then we've got left these two. So I'm going to put minus, and they both had D's, and that's what I might have had to do here. And I'll go back and try to do that in just a second. So this is a minus 8BD minus the 4AD. So on this one, what can I pull out of this one? Can we pull out a 3 and a C? Yes, no, maybe? Yeah, 3 and a C. So 3C. And then we're left with just an A plus, is it 2B? All right. Then on this one, we've got to pull out a negative. So we're pulling out a negative. And what number can we pull out? A 4 and that D. So we can pull out a 4 and a D. And I have a feeling this one has to be done the same. And then we probably should have had paper, and people, I am out of paper. All right. And this one, if I pull out 4D, I'm left with, looks like 2B. And then negative times a positive would give me that negative. And if I pull out a 4D, what's the only thing I'm left with? The A. Okay, this works then. Then with that, I've got A plus 2B, and the other one I've got A plus 2B. So that works, so I can pull out my A plus 2B. And then what would be left? 3C minus 4D. All right. And then I don't want to do this, the 20 over, but I think I need to make sure, because it looks like I should have had not just a number in common, but a letter. So I see this first one and the last both have an E. The two middle both have an F. So I'm going to go way down to the bottom and do that again. So I'm going to go way down to the bottom, and I'm going to put the 10CE minus the 12CF. So 10CE minus 12CF. So I've pulled those two out. And then I'm going to put this one and this one together. And doesn't matter. I prefer to have the positive first, because I don't think it matters if you switch it. So I'm going to put a positive 15DE. And then minus the 18DF. Okay. So did I pull those out correct, I hope? 10CE minus 18DF minus CF plus D. Okay, so now that we've got some letters, so on this first one, what can we pull out this time? A 2C. So I'm going to pull out a 2 and a C, and we would have left a 5, is it 5E? Minus, we're pulling out a 2 and a C, is we would have 6F. And I'm going to hope for the best on this one. And so on this one, what can we pull out? A 3 and a D. So 3 and D. So the point being, sometimes you have to switch it so you have at least a number and a letter to pull out. And then we're left with a 5E minus, is it 6? We're pulling out the D. We're going to have the, oh, that comes out. It does come out. So I learned from that, again, because there was no letter in common, you need to switch them around, and preferably putting that, rather than that positive, rather than that negative in the middle, you can put the positive over here, so you don't have to pull out a negative. So it ends up being 5e minus 6f, and the other parentheses is 2c plus 3d. And that's it. Does that kind of make sense? Okay. That you can switch things around, try to pull out a letter and a number. What is this? Did I run off the wrong thing? I ran off the wrong thing. I totally ran off the wrong paper. Oh no. Okay, so I need to probably have somebody, because I don't want you to, okay, I have to stop the video